It's my one life, and I give it everything I got. I am music. I am sports. I am the culture. It's a quick news break. We yours truly, I'm the one and only. I go by the name of Mr. TALIAFERRO. Please make sure you following your boy. It's on Instagram, and it's at itsmrtaliaferro. As always, at itsmrtaliaferro. So, Joe Budden, one of my favorite personalities, got my favorite podcast in the world, the JBP. Though I am a fan of the podcast, y'all pay me to be unbiased, right? I gotta admit, Joe's name has been muddied up over the last couple weeks. Some people are calling it a smear campaign. I've heard from Spotify. I've heard from Jason Lee, from Sin Santana, from Charlemagne the God. I've heard a lot of names be thrown out as potentially people that would like to see Joe Budden's demise over the last couple of days. Here's what I do know. Joe Budden was accused of physical abuse by a couple of his exes in different settings. Last week, his ex, Tahiri, did an interview with Hollywood Unlocked in which she talked about her and Joe's relationship having abuse in it. Fast forward to a couple days ago, some audio was released of Joe Budden and his BM and his ex, Sin Santana, in which it looks like Sin Santana talks about how Joe at some point in their relationship was abusive. Now, Sin is claiming that she did not leak this audio out of her child's father. They are claiming that somebody else did this. Sin's former manager, I don't know much about this young lady at all. Her name is Rocky Thunder. All right. We'll put all that to the side. Also, a video went viral from the Joe Budden podcast. I remember this episode. This episode was a long time ago in which Joe talks about this damn fool. Anybody that watches the podcast, we know how Joe talks and how crazy it is. But to the public, there's a video going around of Joe talking about jacking his dog off. Now, we know he gives it up with his pets, right? Like, that's a real thing. And that is nasty. Be clear. If you jack your dog off, you are sick. You are nasty. But to me, when I watched it in context of the podcast, just knowing how Joe gives it up, it never bothered me. But that clip went viral. So a lot of people started to say, yo, what's going on? Are people trying to smear Joe Budden's name with everything going on right now? So Joe went to his Instagram Live to address the allegations put on from his exes to people calling him out for jacking a dog off. Let's get a little bit of his BM sin, and then we'll go into Joe.
Have my son in the middle of all of this? Absolutely not. So to violate my privacy, my son's father's privacy, my son's privacy, my family's privacy, because this is bigger than just me, Joe, and my son. I have a whole family. I have siblings. I have a life. We have the right to decide what the we want to share with whoever and what we want to handle in private. That's nobody's business. Nobody.
I love dogs. Hopefully you guys do too. I love animals. I love my dogs who died. Rest in peace to Brooklyn and Harlem. They're turning in their grave right now, reading all this bull, right? So yesterday was podcast day. Hey, Olivia, love and light to you. I love you. Yesterday was podcast day. And it was a lot going on podcast day. You guys said I beat women up. Again. You guys say that I fucked a dog. And it was heavy on me yesterday. Yesterday it was heavy on me. It affected my ability to speak to the people. It was bad. But I didn't feel like it was my place to talk because it wasn't talked about yesterday, and I think it's pretty important. So Rocky, with her slimy, nasty slithered her way into a very vulnerable, impressionable, hurt, and emotional Cynthia. And she was managing her. She started her management company. She directed videos. She was up on Dykeman. She was everywhere. These two was like the 2 1s and 11. I didn't say a word. During the time, there were threats to take me to court for child support. And if you're unfamiliar with how that goes, when you are looking to go to court for child support, now we had a conversation and she says, you know, I noticed some things on my own about Rocky. I'm removing myself. I'm distancing myself. That bitch is toxic, so forth and so on. And that was that. When they had their breakup, their public, well, they're not public falling out, and they just kind of separated from each other, neither one of them said a thing. Sin didn't say a thing. Rocky didn't say a thing. And Rocky has spent the year attempting to bash me or drag my name. I've never slept with Rocky. I have no business dealings with Rocky. I have no idea why she's feeling the way she's feeling. I think that she's sick. I think that she's bipolar. I think she has dementia. She got COVID. It's not for me to tell her business. I just don't think she's doing well. So we pray for her.
Look, if you're new to my platform, you don't know how I give it up. We talk about whatever the culture is talking about. I try to be 75 to 85% news, a little bit of commentary here and there. Look, Joe Budden has a very large fan base. I would like to include myself in that. Like I said, I love the podcast, but y'all pay me to be unbiased at all times. I have to admit, it is definitely starting to get troubling for Joe, because in every situation he is in, it definitely seems like the brother has some accountability issues. Gotta be real. I know a lot of people ain't gonna want to hear it. I know a lot of Joe Budden fans ain't gonna want to hear it. It just is what it is. Now, I do believe somebody is smearing this man's name in the media. He claims it's a young lady by the name of Rocky Thunder. I don't know much about her at all. Like I said, that is Joe Budden's claim, that she has been trying to wreck his name and the beautiful brand that he's grown. But I do think every time I hear Joe try to clean up, and I'm not talking about the jacking off of the dog, whatever. If you freaking like that, you freaking like that. That doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. That ain't abuse or whatever. It's nasty, but to each his own with they pet. But when you start talking about physical abuse, as a longtime listener of the podcast, I have grown used to Joe Budden always saying, it's never my fault. And because his fan base is so large, no disrespect to him, they always cape up for him. Now, he's on the right side of history now. His fans love him. And that's a dangerous game to play. When it's somebody you love, a lot of times you never want to see the truth because you love that person. I am not trying to disrespect Joe, smear his name. I'm just telling y'all my 2 cents. I am not, my fandom for Joe in the podcast, really not Joe, the podcast, is not smuggled enough to not tell the truth unbiasedly about a story, all right? Y'all let me know in the comment box below. Y'all let me know what y'all think about some of the things that Joe has been going through over the last couple days. I saw Charlamagne on the Breakfast Club earlier. You know, he said he really wanted to be petty with Joe about it, but he said he opted to not do so, even though he felt like if he were in a bad spot and his name was getting dragged through the mud, he felt like Joe would go in. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that in the comment box below. And I do thank y'all so much for the time, love, support me. All right, I'm out.